Um, Hello, everybody. Welcome to listen to the Hoosier Shooting Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Swartz. With me is Holly Hoopingarner. I'll go on a limb and say that Holly's been one of my really good friends for over over a decade, almost 2 decades.
You're getting old here, Paul.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me. All joking aside, I don't think I've ever said to her, very special young lady here. Very special. Easily one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. Smart, intelligent. You got it. I remember I think I'm a mentor. I wouldn't go as far to say I'm a mentor, but
For sure.
I've been an older presence in your life. And I remember when you first came to me and said, "Hey, I'm getting into coaching," and I was going through a rough patch in coaching, and I was like, "Oh, like you don't understand the hardships you're signed up for, and all the grind. It's a grind." But I can't say enough good things about this young lady here. I love her like a daughter. I might get emotional saying that, but like all joking aside, like very, very special to me and my family. My wife is thinks very highly of you. So, but I want to give you a chance to let you introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Starting from middle school, high school, college, and who's Holly?
Perfect. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. This is actually a really fun experience. As Paul said, we've known each other for a very long time now, and he was one of my first trainers coming into high school and everything, and kind of helped build my career in basketball. So that was a big part of, my younger basketball career and whatnot. But I am from Greenwood. I'm from the South Side, from around Indianapolis. I've practically been here my whole life, which has been
Can I ask
awesome.
you about Greenwood?
Sure.
Any kind of recognition that we should be aware of?
Maybe a few things,
yeah. Tell me about that real quick.
I did end up breaking the scoring record at Greenwood.
Okay.
I was an Indiana All-Star, all that kind of
How
stuff.
many Indiana All-Stars have they had there?
Just one on the women's side.
On the women's side, one, and on the other side, two.
Yeah.
So the only female Indiana All-Star in Greenwood history.
Paul is always very good about making me point out these things, which is nice. But
you worked hard for him. You earned
it.
You earned it.
And he helped me along the way, which was great.
No, you did it.
Yeah, and Katrina helped me, all the sprained ankles, all that. So his wife is really the reason why I got to where I'm at.
I was joking aside. She's the reason why I'm here too.
She's
gonna come out on Valentine's Day. So my wife.
Right. Anyway, so I had a great career at Greenwood and went through the recruiting process. Young, freshman, sophomore year of high school. Had a great AAU program I got connected with. It was the Indy Magic back then. They're still around today. Justin Blanding was our head coach and still runs it. And he did a great job. And our group that came together stayed together for, 5-6 years, which is very rare, especially these days. You see, a lot of kids jump from team to team to team. Sometimes you'll play on 3 teams in one summer. It's kind of crazy, but we had a great group. I'm still best friends with a lot of those players, which is really cool to see.
That's awesome.
But anyway, so had a great recruiting process. Ended up wanting to stay kind of close to home. And so I ended up at IUPUI at the time. Obviously, now it's IU Indianapolis. It's changed. But so pretty much any gear that I have is like vintage,
Can't go back to that anymore.
Yeah, I think I could sell it for a high dollar, but maybe not.
Autograph it.
Yeah, exactly.
I got that. I got your jersey hanging up there that I still. Yeah.
I'll
sell that. Have you autograph it?
Yeah.
So you played at IUPUI.
Yep.
Briefly talk about your senior year. You did something that's never been done at IUPUI.
Yeah. So it was really, really neat. It was kind of a build-up, freshman to sophomore. Freshman year, we thought we were going to make the NCAA tournament. It hadn't been done yet. And we lose in a heartbreaking overtime game off of a buzzer beater to Western Illinois my freshman year. And so, we go back to the drawing board, sophomore year, junior year. We're there. We have great seasons. We just don't get over the hump. And finally, by senior year, we had some transfers that came back home. One was one of my teammates from the Indy Magic, all this stuff. So a lot of Indiana kids that got to play together again. And we ended up winning our conference tournament in the Horizon League for the first time in IUPUI's history. And then, we're supposed to go to the NCAA tournament.
We don't have to talk about that. Yeah. If you don't want to.
If you want to know, I graduated in 2020, not the best year. And so we never ended up going, but
I remember watching the conference tournament. And this is a bit of emotional because, I've been working with you and have, a hands-on approach. And I remember your senior year was kind of like a closing of a chapter for me.
Yeah.
Because I remember for 8 years, I could always just go watch how they play.
Right.
And I remember watching that conference championship, and it was right before COVID. And then The sad part is though, and this is, I mean, you were kind of IUPUI putting the trophy over their head with you in the sprint and center was kind of the almost the poster child of like, look at what they lost. Every time you saw something, there was IUPUI and Holly, and it broke my heart every single time.
Yeah,
But you were the first. So just to make sure we go back, first Indiana All-Star.
Yeah.
And first time ever at IUPUI in the big dance.
Yeah.
So 2 big accomplishments under your belt.
Yeah.
And so then you shift into coaching.
Yeah. And partly what I think people don't talk about is the crazy thing after you're a senior and your career comes to an end. And like, I was so blessed because I got to win leave on a win, which most people don't do, right? Of course I wanted to go to the tournament, play in the tournament, but I left on such a high. But then as a player, you go through this like identity crisis almost when your career ends. Like, I remember I watched, the news and they said, Sports Center saying everything's canceled. And I realized that I just played my last game and I wasn't even aware of it. And, for those 2 weeks, it was really hard. Like, I just sat, everybody was at home, right? But I sat at home like, okay, and I knew I wanted to get into coaching, but I didn't know what that path was going to look like. I didn't have a position set up already, all that kind of stuff. And so I think as a young kid, you're a freshman in college, whatever, you think that you have so much time to figure it out. You have, so many games to play. You almost you don't take advantage of every opportunity that you have because you're like, oh, I have another game. Well, it comes quick that all of a sudden you don't have another game. Wow. And so, and I think I was just talking to a player that I had coached, and she's a grad now. She's about to be done. And we're talking about life after basketball. And she's like, man, I took advantage of some of the time I was in college, and I'm trying to make it slow down at this point. And so, that's one thing I tell a lot of our younger kids too, like, you have to stay in the moment, enjoy this. Like, it's hard, it's a grind, like anything worth having is hard, but like, it's going to come to an end soon. And you have the most people in your life that care about you right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like the people who are calling to check on you, the people who are in your corner if you need anything. You leave college and you still have some connections, but like,
I'm not as strong.
Yeah, it's not the same. You don't have the same community that you had naturally. And so, those first few weeks were like, oh my gosh, what in the heck am I going to do with my life now?
Which is funny because this is a testament to you as a person. You said first off, you said a lot there.
Yeah.
That's going to be part 2 when you come back because I definitely want to dig into that. But I've met a lot of people that know you, and people always say the same thing. Like, yes, you're hardworking. Yes, you're demanding. But I have yet to meet a natural enemy of Holly Hoopingarner. Mm-hmm. Everyone's always loved you when you left. And it's funny because you have that awareness as a person that, you see me walk in the rooms, I walk out, I was like, oh man, thank God that guy's gone. I can't stand that guy. But I don't have that social awareness that you have, but the fact that you can make friends with anybody is just a special talent.
Yeah.
But it's definitely true. And Kobe talked about it of when you're on TV and when you're a superstar, make the phone calls because that phone's not going to get picked up once you retire.
Yeah.
And so taking advantage of the moment also, but you started off with a nursing degree. And then you shifted into coaching about a year and a half into it.
Yep.
So you were kind of laying that path a little bit, not as much as, from what I'm hearing though, not as much as you wanted to.
Yeah.
Now,
well, and I think luckily I took full advantage of my career. And honestly, my head coach at the time, who now I work for, Austin Parkinson, he was a huge reason why I decided to go into coaching. So I thought the medical field was for me. I had some family members that were in the medical field. And then once I did some like job shadowing, which I strongly encourage people to do when they're in college, because you don't know what the real world's like from sitting in a classroom. And so I was fortunate enough to, I knew a few people. So I went out into the field. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is not for me. Like, I don't really enjoy this. And so, in high school though, I think you don't think of college coaching necessarily as like a full-time job, which is crazy. But like, even in college, once I started coaching, one of our players was like, oh, you guys are like in the office all the day, like all the time. And I was like, what did you think we do? Just show up for like practice? She's like, yeah, I guess. I'm like, oh gosh, this is so sad.
And the crazy part is college coaching is a job and a half.
Yeah.
Maybe almost 2 full-time
jobs. Exactly. So anyway, but once I saw, what goes in behind the scenes of the recruiting and all that kind of stuff, and he had kind of mentored me into thinking, you need to go into coaching at some point. I want to coach with you at some point, all this stuff. And so once I kind of made that decision, I think that was between like my sophomore and junior year kind of, then he was great. He would call me and be like, hey, look, this recruiting situation came up. Like, I just want to teach you a lesson. Like, this is what happened. This is how you should handle it. Or, in practice, he would call me over and like let me drop a play on the board. Or in timeouts, it got to a point by my junior, senior year, I had enough equity with him and he trusted me and I trusted him that, you know, if I said, hey, like, I think we need to run this play, like, this is how they're covering, you know, ball screens or whatever. He's like, all right, let's do it. Like,
now, here's the interesting thing, and you said a word there that I want to dig into: equity. Equity, and this is what a lot of players, and it's just the culture is different, and it's crazy because you haven't been coaching that long.
No,
it's not like you've been in this 40, 50 years.
No,
but the culture from your freshman year to now has already changed.
Yeah.
But how did you get that equity? I know the answer.
Yeah.
But I want you to hear it. Like, how did you get the equity?
A lot of time in the gym, a lot of conversations with him, multiple. I mean, it wasn't until my junior, senior year, so that was loyalty as far as staying with, you know, a program and proving myself. You know, I came off the bench my freshman year, like I just walked in and started. Like I played 10 to 20 minutes a game, depending on the game. You know, we had a great point guard in front of me, and Sid Hall, who's, you know, from here, and I learned a lot from her. But it came down to my work ethic in practice, my respect for the coaching staff, my want to learn, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so it was built up over time, though. It wasn't just, you know, instant. Yeah.
And I think that's what I want people to understand, though. It was built over time.
Yeah.
If you would have said freshman year, and be honest, like, I don't want to throw anybody on the bus. We don't need stories, but you were probably frustrated your freshman year a little bit. Like, there was a lot to do. Like, who wouldn't be?
Yeah.
And so that's what young players need to hear. Is just because you're frustrated, you took that as an opportunity as, hey, I have a chance to improve myself.
Yeah.
And you could have transferred out. And you had a lot of schools that would probably be excited to have Holly Hoopingarner on their roster, but you stuck with it.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
And that's why you were recruited, but also that's also why other schools would have an interest in you.
Yeah.
Because they knew who you were.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and I chose the coaching staff because they had done such a good job of building a relationship with me. I knew who they were as people. I trusted them. But then also, I mean, they were honest with me throughout the recruiting process. Like, we're going to push you. You know, we're going to get on you. We're going to make you your best version of yourself, you know. But that doesn't happen through just, oh, good job. You know, just do what you want to do. Like, you know. And I was aware of that. And so even my frustrations, maybe my freshman year, was more with myself, not maybe living up to the standard I had built for myself. It was never with the coaches and like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they took me out of the game for turning the ball over for the third time. Like, I probably deserved it.
If you're time out. If you're a young athlete, I need you to go back for about 30 seconds and listen to that again, because that's powerful right there.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not just. And again, it wasn't like you had to do that one time and it was done. At one time, you had to do this for 2 years, every single day. Sit back and realize that it's a Holly problem, not a Coach Park problem. And that's deep right there. That's really, a lot of players get frustrated about it. And they're like, well, I did it right once. I'm like, no, you can't do it right once. You have to do it right for 2 years before you finally get that recognition. That's powerful right there. That's so powerful.
Yeah. And, you know, it's easy probably for me to sit here now and say that on the back end, right? But, like, that's honestly how I'm not just, like, saying that because now I'm in the coaching world. Like, I really felt that, you know, at the time, like, okay, what do I need to do to be better, to get more minutes on the floor? You know, that type of thing. And everybody knows, like, if you watched my freshman year, I had a turnover problem. Like, I did. I went to Green Bay and threw 7 turnovers. Like, I'm fully aware that was a bad performance. And I should have been on the bench. But it's this hard thing of you go into college from being a star. You know, like, I was one of the top scorers in the state just because my team tried. They weren't the best, but they tried, right? And so I had to step up and be that person. And so I was used. But one thing I wasn't used to playing is defense. Like, nobody got on me about defense, you know? And now you're in the college world and you got to play defense. And there's defensive schemes, there's principles, there's things that I had never heard of that I'm trying to learn. And, you know, the help side here and tag here and bluff here and do this. And then also go run the play. And, you know, and so it's a huge adjustment, pace-wise, IQ-wise, all that kind of stuff. That when you come out of high school, a lot of times you just haven't had it. And it's not anybody's fault. It's just, it's a different level, right? And that's why a few percentage of high school athletes even make it to the college level. And so it's a hard year. It's a frustrating year, of course. But I always tell kids, like, once you get through it, you're going to look back and be like, oh, I can do this. This is easy now. You know, like, I got it. I know the system. I know the staff. I know everything. But, like, that first year is always tough, no matter where you go, no matter what college you choose to go to. there's going to be highs and there's going to be lows.
There's a selfish question I'm asking, though. If you could reflect all the way back to your sophomore year in high school,
Mm-hmm.
the first time we ever got on the court,
Yep.
you did 2-ball.
Yep.
You were frustrated.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's not just you go freshman year in college. Like, I have a problem now where a lot of people tell me, like, oh, you're just too mean to people. What am I doing next meeting? And they're like, well, 2-ball dribbling is just too hard. And I'm like, it doesn't sound hard. I can do it. It just sounds like you're not willing to put the pressure through. And again, freshman year coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So you went freshman year in high school, freshman year in college, and now you're freshman year coaching. Did you get hit with that? Not exact same wave, but like you got your butt handed to you your freshman year.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And, talk about that a little bit. Like,
you mean my first year coaching?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the great part was like, Coach Parkinson hired me, so I was familiar more with the system. I was familiar. So that part helped me a little bit. But at the same time, now I got to learn how to recruit people. And at the time, it was just me and Coach Latrell Fleming. He's our other assistant coach, because we had our other coach took a job like in October, which it was a great move for her.
Yeah.
But then it just left the 2 assistants. And so now it's my first year. I was still finishing my grad school. I was getting my master's. And I was trying to figure out, what the heck is going on. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's another learning curve of like, okay, this time I need a scouting report done. This is how, we need to train to get, this is the schedule. This is, and when you're at a mid-major, a lot of college coaches will, relate to this. You're taking on multiple, like, if you're at a Power 5, you have the luxury of having, even now at Butler, we have a good amount of assistants. Like, we have a big staff. So it's easier to delegate and you can focus more on certain things. But it was literally me, Coach Latrell, and Megan Ardobo. That was it. There's 3 of us, and we had to figure out how to do everything. And It was Megan's first year as a Dobo as well. So we had 2 young people on staff. And so, I mean, we're trying to figure out how to do everything. And we felt like the harder we kicked our feet, the deeper the hole got dug, as far as like we just couldn't keep up with what was going on. But it was a great learning experience, and it was a great, sometimes the best thing to do is to kind of throw you in the fire, and you got to figure it out, Well,
here's the beautiful part about your next step, because there's going to be another part where you get your butt handed to you.
Yeah.
That's going to be when you're a head coach.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, okay, so now you're a head coach at a mid-major. Now you're a head coach at a Power 5.
Yeah.
And so you're always going to be consistently challenging yourself as a person.
Yeah.
And so, but if you quit your freshman year at IUPUI, you probably wouldn't be where you are now.
Absolutely.
And so it's all about sticking to it. And you may not, even though you didn't know what was going to be on the other side. Freshman Holly would have never been like, oh, I'm going to be an assistant coach at a big school and have all this. So I want to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And this has been the big theme I want to dig into you with today is recruiting. Recruiting. And not the overall, like, I look for body language, I look for this, I look for this.
Yeah.
What I want to do is you wake up in the morning, you turn on Instagram, you turn on something. How does a young lady go from no recognition, you've never seen this girl, to on your recruiting radar? How does that process work?
So, as you just mentioned, social media, right? It is a big part of the recruiting process now. But outside of the social media and that kind of thing, I would say a big part is finding a good program that's going to help you. So, you probably can't control your high school. Hopefully your high school coaches will help you, if they can. That's not always the case. But outside of that, finding a program. So like I mentioned, Indy Magic, like I was loyal to him. Justin was great for us. He would send our stuff to the coaches. He would get us in some tournaments that, were going to be exposure tournaments as far as getting us in front of college coaches and preparing us that way. So
can I ask you about the exposure tournaments?
Yeah, of course.
Describe to me the exposure tournaments. What grades were there? Who was there?
When I played.
When you played. Or even now. Because this is the reason why, though, is I see a lot of exposure tournaments, all right? And it's for 4th graders. Our 4th graders, is Holly Hoopingarner showing up to a 4th grade tournament?
No.
Okay.
They're not even recruitable age, so no.
Okay. So at what point in time does that recruiting, at what point in time does the word exposure actually mean something?
I would say probably, so technically you're not, kids now will get recruited their 7th and 8th grade years. And a lot of times that's because they're playing on a higher level team. So, a lot of kids will play up these days instead of playing their age grade.
Yeah.
So, we've seen 8th graders playing on like a sophomore level team. And so I would say by maybe your 7th to 8th grade year, if you are advanced and you're playing, on some of those teams, then it is technically an exposure tournament and like we're actually there watching you. But for the most part, we don't go sit on like 6th grade, 5th grade courts, anything like that. So,
I get that.
yeah.
I just, no, and it's interesting because when you run across film and you see something, what do you want that film to contain?
Yeah. So the funny thing is like, I would rather it be, give me like 2 minutes. If it's going to be a highlight film, 2 minutes and break it down maybe into like different types of shots they'll take. Defense is a big one. Like I want to see that they play defense, that type of thing. But also including, so say a coach is sending out an email, maybe it has the highlight film, but we need full game tape as well. And so, because I think we could put you on a highlight film today.
I'm 42
You
and
think?
old. Yeah. Oh, I can. Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially if you just show my shoes and me walking in slow motion.
I could find some clips to put together, right?
Yeah.
So like
Me
highlight films are great. That's where, we might pull that up first to be like, okay, they look like, they could play the way they move, their body stature, all this kind of stuff. But now I need to watch a full game.
Yeah.
I need to see, are you a hustler? Do you play hard the whole time? Do you sprint up and down the court? When you're not involved in the play, are you still playing hard? All that kind of stuff goes into it as well. So yes, the highlight tapes are good to an extent, but we also need like full game film to be able to actually evaluate.
And it's interesting because for me as a trainer, when I get film, and I would think you do the same thing. I always look for what's there, but I'm always looking for evidence of what's not there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for example, I trained a kid, he sent me video. All of his finishes were straight up, straight up, straight up, straight up. And he goes, but I made all these finishes. I'm like, yeah, but I didn't see any 2-foot power finishes.
Yeah.
I didn't see up and unders.
Right.
Not like a do-si-do up and under, but like a jump stop, shot fake.
Yeah.
I didn't see any power moves.
Right.
And he goes, well, I made all these good moves. I'm like, but I saw this, but I didn't see this. Or is there a part where you're digging through the highlight reel and saying, what am I not seeing? And then finding that.
Well, and for sure too, right? You can probably watch a kid and you can probably relate to this and say like, okay, they tried, like maybe they didn't finish the move. They tried to do it, like they have the ability to do it. We can work with that, but if like a kid literally can't dribble with their left hand by the time we're recruiting them, well, that's probably not great. That could be a red flag. So for you're looking at, it's like, okay, where can I develop still? Like no matter what age they are. Right. But for us, if we're looking at a sophomore, junior in high school that can't even functionally go to her left, we might have an issue as far as, we're going to continue to develop you once you get here, but we need a strong basis. And another part is we're really looking for fundamentals, and that's where a lot of people have kind of gotten off track, I think. And, a lot of trainers are good and teach fundamentals. And then you have a lot of trainers who are teaching 5th graders Euro steps and behind the back, turned around spin, but the kid can't functionally just do a layup. And
Can we go back real quick? I want you to go back again, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I need y'all to listen to that again.
Yeah.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Yeah. And I think, a lot of college coaches, a lot of good trainers, a lot of people share the same frustrations of we've gotten away from the fundamental side of it. And so, we joke, if you come to our practices, we do jump stop drills almost every day. Like, can you dribble into the defense, land on 2, and make a pass? And people are like, I got that. Like, where's the one-handed finishes? I got that. And it's like, okay, but you're traveling in the game. So, let's hold on. Let's go back. We're going to do jump stop. We're going to do a box out drill every day because we're getting out rebounded and it's costing us games, right? And so the boring, the monotonous, if you can be great at those things, you're probably going to be a really, really good player. But if you are just worried about being able to, look pretty on your finishes and stuff.
You know this about me. My biggest pet peeve is when someone jumps off the right foot, picks it with the right hand, and finishes. I'm like, that's getting blocked. That's absolutely getting blocked. Yeah. And that's not going to work.
Unless you're like Zion Williamson, then maybe. You're just a freak.
Which one? Are you talking about the same Zion that I'm talking about? Cheeseburger Zion or?
I'm talking about freaks.
You're thinking Giannis.
Giannis.
Yeah, I'm going to get
I
cancel on this podcast. Yeah, Zion's going to find me and come after me. I could outrun him, though.
So I'm not sure about that
one. But you got to think about it.
Yeah.
Giannis could beat me. So it's interesting you say that, though. But I also heard you say this, though. There needs to be, okay, so a girl can't go left. However, if she is willing to learn to be taught to go left, you can work with that. And now if she can't go left and she refuses to go left and she refuses to put the work in, that's a whole other conversation.
For sure.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, yeah, you don't have a left-hand finish, but maybe your high school coach didn't necessarily have the tools and equipment. And again, he may have just been, she may have been a science teacher that just filled in. And so there is some, you're willing to meet somebody halfway.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
If you go and say, oh, well, you have the best trainers in the world and you have the best coach in the world, and now you still refuse to do it, at some point in time, the player.
Yeah, well, and as you know, recruiting is more than just watching the film. I mean, we're calling schools, we're calling coaches, we're calling parents, we're asking about you as a person too, right? And it's what's your character, what's your work ethic, because it's a lot that goes into recruiting one player, and you may only sign 2 kids in a class, 3 kids in a class, but maybe you've recruited 20 or 30, and on every single one, you're doing deep dives as to like who they are they a good teammate, all that kind of stuff. So
I want to dig into, this is going to be a 3-level question. What's the conversation with the AU coach look like? What's the conversation with the high school coach look like? And what is the third conversation you said that you're doing the deep dive? Not necessarily specific of mom, dad, parent, math teacher, science teacher, but what do those conversations look like?
So, I mean, AAU coach and high school coach are probably similar conversations, but it also depends. So some kids, if a kid's been with a program, an AAU program for a long time, or 2 or 3 years even, like that's still kind of a long time for nowadays, right? We may go deeper into a conversation about the kid's character, the kid's, work ethic, the kids, all that kind of stuff with them, because they know they've had the kid around.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
How much weight does that carry in the recruiting process? If a player has been with the Magic for 8 years, or 6 years, 4 years, does that carry a lot of weight? Or if Justin were to call and say, hey, this girl just jumped in last week, would he somewhat lose a little bit of that weight?
I don't think he doesn't lose I think the conversation just doesn't go as deep. So like if he calls and says, because you make great relationships with these coaches and they'll call you, hey, this kid just came to my program. Like, I really think they'd be a good fit because they know our program as well, right? Because we do a lot of, communicating. They come to our games. They bring their girls to the games and stuff. So like, I'm still going to trust that I should go watch them. But like, I can't then ask them, well, how are they on defense? How hard do they work? How, all this kind of stuff. What's their family like? Well, they don't know those answers, because they just joined their program. You know what I mean? And it's not their fault or anything. Like, she's just telling me it's a really good talent, watch her. And then from that point, you're probably then going to have to go a little bit further. And maybe that's the high school coach, right? Because typically you're at high school for all 4 years. So, yeah, maybe not anymore. For the most part, I would say. A lot of the kids we've recruited, they've been at their high school for their 4 years.
But, I mean, and I want players to understand this, and hear me if I'm saying it right, but the longer you've been in a program, the more weight that conversation actually carries.
For sure. Well, that's what that's what I'm saying. The AAU coach, now maybe it's like, okay, she's a great talent. Watch her, right? Yeah. That's as far as that conversation goes. But now I go to the high school coach. Okay, now you tell me the nitty gritty. Tell me, how the family is. Tell me who she hangs out with. Tell me what she does on social media. Tell me, all this kind of stuff. Because that stuff is important, obviously, in your locker room when you come to, a college program and the culture and everything. And so that's where then the deeper conversations probably happen with people they've been around longer, just because they actually know them, right? They know the good things, they know the bad things, they know all that kind of stuff. And so
you know who you're hanging out with on the weekends.
Exactly. Yeah. How are they off the court?
Do you do any? So you got the inside the circle, the barrier of the circle. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Inner friends. Yeah. Boom. Do you reach out to teachers, math teachers, science teachers?
We have in the past. I have not recently. No. Okay. That's kind of gone away. Counselors, like high school counselors, that would be somebody that I've reached out to. Okay. As far as, grades, obviously we need to check on, how you are as a student. Are you getting in trouble? Are you attendance? Like, do you miss school a lot? That kind of stuff. So that would be somebody who we do reach out to, as far as somebody within like the school that's kind of outside the program but knows about you as a student. Yeah. And that kind of thing.
So I would say this, and this isn't an arrogant comment. I just want to be honest. Like, if I were to call you and say, Holly, I have a girl that you need to check out, I think I could get a girl on your radar.
Mhm.
I can't get her a scholarship. I can't do any
Correct.
of that. But I could at least get your 2 eyes on them. I could get the door open,
Yeah.
and I could get a foot in the door. But then after that, it's on what they do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
For sure.
But if you found out, and this is what players don't understand, is they want me to make all these coaches.
Yeah.
Call this coach, call this coach. But like, if I give you a call and it's a dud,
Mm-hmm.
and like, oh man, I knew it was a dud, that puts a black eye on me.
Yeah.
And AAU coaches are the same thing. It's like, hey, I don't mind making the call, but understand, like, I can't send you somebody
For sure.
and then have that person be a known dud.
Yeah.
If I send you a lemon, then you're not going to pick my call
Yeah.
up anymore.
Yeah.
So there is, coaches have
Yeah.
to be very impeccable with their words.
Yeah.
So, I mean, have you
Yeah.
had those situations or?
Yeah, and I think it's a two-way street. Like, we try to do a really good job of building relationships with the AAU coaches because now, and I have one in Illinois, like, he'll text me all the time, and he's a really good guy. I trust that if he tells me, like, hey, this is, like, you need to check her out, that she would be a good fit in our program, and it's somebody for me to actually look at, right? But it's a two-way street of, like, I've built that relationship with him. He's also built it with me. And so, like, he now feels kind of like this weight of, like, that's my friend. I don't want to, like, I'm not going to try to do something that would,
Yeah.
hurt her friend. So I think it goes both ways. But yes, we do. I find it more now, I would say, international recruiting is tough because we've started to internationally recruit. We have a young lady from Australia on our team this year. She's been great. But a lot of times coaches, I mean, my inbox was just, this is the kid, this is the kid, this is the kid. And I watch her like, this is not the kid. I promise you, this is not the kid, right? And maybe it's not, I don't know how much they understand about the American college basketball either. You know what I mean? So, like, levels, I don't know if maybe they just don't understand it. And so I would say international recruiting has become harder as far as trying to decipher who actually is worth looking at and who is not, because you have to really watch a lot of film on them and do that kind of thing, do your digging in order to find out, like, if they're actually your level. Because a lot of these coaches are like, oh, I promise her. They're the one. They're your level. And I'm like,
but there's no relationship there. So, like,
Correct.
they could disappear next week. You'd be like, I didn't know Igor to start off with.
Yeah.
It was funny because when I was at Delta State, I'm going to age myself here on this. You got DVDs that you had to watch. And so I remember this kid kept coming after me hard. Added me on Facebook. And this is before Facebook was really public. It was kind of like you had to know me to get on my Facebook. And so added me on Facebook, did all this stuff. And he wasn't good. He just wasn't good.
Yeah.
However, what I started doing was I started watching his film, but I started watching other players around him. Like, is there somebody on this film that I could recruit? And so, like, and I felt bad, but, like, at the same time, it just wasn't working. He just wasn't a fit. And and something else that we haven't really talked about, but you went from a high-level player in high school to college.
Mm-hmm.
What does a college freshman schedule look like? And a lot of people don't understand this.
Yeah.
Like, talk about Monday morning. Just talk about a Monday morning as a college freshman.
Well, when I was playing, we had 6:30 weights. So,
6:30 weights?
Yep. So we were up, boom, 6:30.
No, you were at the weight room at 6:30.
Yeah, so we were up by like 5:45. Yeah.
5:30 wake up.
Yep. So we got over there, get stretched, everything. Had about a 45-minute to an hour session of weights and conditioning. So now it's about 7:30. I had 8 a.m.s my freshman year, so I would shower right there at the gym, go straight to class, try not to fall asleep in class. And then, it kind of depends on your class schedule, but a lot of times you have 3 classes a day your freshman year just because you have a little extra load as far as, whatever, you don't know what your major maybe is at that point, so you're taking some electives, you're doing all this. So you have class most of the day, and there you got to find time to...
So 3 o'clock.
Yep.
3, 4 o'clock, you're done.
Usually around like 2:30 because we had a 3 o'clock practice slot.
Okay.
And so
then you practice
get to the
3.
gym. Yep, 3 to 5:30.
5:30.
Yep.
And then after 5:30, you probably have some kind of film, something, some kind of team activity.
Mm-hmm.
So you get home at
7.
8 o'clock-ish?
Yeah, 7:38.
And that's
pre-homework.
pre-homework?
You gotta eat dinner.
You got dinner and homework?
Yeah, you gotta find homework as a freshman. Or find homework, find dinner.
Yeah.
As a freshman, that was a tough task in and of itself.
So you got to find dinner.
You gotta find dinner.
So now, after your homework and after you get catch up, now it's 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
You're in bed.
Yep. Just to do it all over again.
5:30, wake up.
Yeah.
And so I it's interesting because I have players that come here like, I want to be this elite athlete. I'm like, okay, tell me about your day. Well, I go to school, I play video games, I train for an hour, and then I go back and play video games. So I'm like, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have a shell shock.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying you have to throw your high school life away to
right.
grind 14 hours a day, but there has to be, you know, if you're struggling with this little bit, imagine when you get into college, it's going to be this. And people, I hear people struggle with that all the time.
Yeah.
And so, last question, I have 2 questions for you, and then we're out of here, I promise. How do you, when you walk into a gym, I'm assuming because when I was a college coach, I had a general idea of what I was getting myself into. I knew the guards, I knew the bigs, I knew what they were looking at. How many times have you been shocked to walk in a gym and say, I've never seen this girl, give me her information?
I would say it's actually happened 3 or 4 times in my 4 years. I'm only 4 years in. 4 years? Yeah, 5. This is my 5th season. But
you've been coaching, but playing career and everything.
Yes. You mean as far as recruiting a kid?
Yes.
Yeah. I would say it doesn't happen a ton because we do a ton of research on all these, you know, teams and stuff. And especially, I will say the circuits have made it a little bit easier because, like, they're pretty good about, they have websites, they have social media. You know who's on their team. You've watched who's on their team. But I'll give you an example. Even last year, there was a team from Ohio that had kind of been called up to play on the Adidas circuit. They needed a team to fill in. And there was an 8 p.m. game and an 8 a.m. game. And this girl was playing in both. And I happened to stay. And so I was there. I was watching this court. She was playing on the court behind me. But I don't like sitting down for very long. So I stand up a lot. And so I was kind of standing on the baseline between them. And so I was just, you know, while this one was dead, I would watch this game and stuff. Well, this girl started hitting all kinds of threes. I mean, just lighting it up over here. And, like, nobody else was there. It was, like, me and one other coach. And so I'm like, you know, I'm gonna come back the next morning and see, you know, if she's any good.
See if there's a fluke or
so 8 a.m. I show up. Not many coaches are on the court. And sure enough, she hits 11 threes. 11! I couldn't believe it.
And you're there in your mind just like.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking, wow, I found somebody, you know. But she's still in high school, so we'll see.
Okay. No names. Cut.
Right.
Cut.
But my point is, like, if you're diligent about, just watch other courts, see what happens. You may, you know, find somebody. And I just, happened to look over. And
But here's the thing, though. If she's a bad apple, if she has a culture issue of throwing a fit when things don't go her way, she very well could have hit 11 threes, shown her behind, and been like, I lost it.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of person she has to be 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fake that kind of thing.
Exactly.
You're going to get caught.
Exactly.
Last question for you. And first off, you've done amazing. I appreciate your time. This has been awesome.
This has been great.
Last question. You wake up tomorrow. You are the commissioner of basketball in America. Any decision you make, 4-point line. You could say everybody has to have a recruiting tape. You can only bother me once. You can only tag me once on Instagram.
Yeah.
You have to make one rule universal from anywhere to everything. What's that rule for Holly Hoopingarner?
Can I say shot clocks in high school? Is that a thing?
Podcast over.
Can that be my decision?
You can make universal shot clocks.
Yeah.
Universal shot clocks.
And you know what? It could be a long shot clock. I don't care. I just don't want to watch a team dribble the ball around for 4 minutes straight.
Okay, fair enough. I respect that. So digging in that one.
Yeah.
So NBA 24, college 30 or 28.
Yeah.
And then high school would be what?
You could do 40 to start.
40? Okay.
Yeah, because college is 30, so give them 10 extra seconds.
Middle school would be?
I'd probably do a minute.
A minute?
Yeah.
Elementary school, no shot clock?
No shot clock on elementary.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Holly, I appreciate you.
Thank you. This has been
You
fun.
did phenomenal. Hey, check us out. Subscribe if you like what you're hearing. Again, we appreciate Holly. We're just here to educate you as parents, educate you as players. Check us out.